Yo, what's up, everybody? So my name is Jake. I own a bookkeeping company that I started about 5 years ago. And really the purpose of this video, this is like my first real YouTube video. And honestly, it's going to be a little bit awkward and we'll see how it goes. They always say your first video is always going to be your worst video. But really the purpose of this video is to convince you, if you're an accountant and if you have accounting skills, to start a bookkeeping company. I took the leap about 5 years ago, and it was one of the best decisions I've ever made in my career. I started out, I got an accounting degree at the local state university, and I got my first job making like $54,000 doing taxes. I had no idea what I was doing, by the way, when I first started, and it took me like 3 years to really figure out the accounting world and the tax world, and I really struggled actually as an employee. But once I got to like year 5 and 6, I was starting to thrive as an employee, and I started to gain a little bit of confidence. But at the same time, even though I was doing a lot better as an employee, my pay wasn't really wasn't increasing at the rate that I wanted it to be. Like I said, I started at 54,000. I think before I quit my job, I think I was around 80,000 was the amount that I was making per year, which isn't bad. I wasn't like super upset about it, but I definitely expected it to grow a little bit faster. But anyway, I passed my CPA exams after failing like 10 times in 2021. And with that big weight off my shoulders, I finally had time to think outside the box and to think about my career and to think about what I wanted for my life. And that's when I came across this bookkeeping business idea. I'd never thought about it before. I saw somebody else like myself talking about it. And I never thought about it, but I had some bookkeeping experience because I had done a little bit at the firm I was working at. I mainly did tax, but there was a little bit of bookkeeping that we had to do, for the tax work. And so I, and also with COVID and everything, I was super disgruntled as an employee. I was a little bit of a rebellious employee also, hated being told what to do. And so I always had this entrepreneurial itch to start a business. I never knew what that business was, but this bookkeeping thing kept coming up, and I was like, you know what, maybe this is something I can do. It felt beneath me. It felt like a job that a non-accountant would do. But after looking into it more and more, I realized that there's so much potential in owning a bookkeeping business. And there's actually a lot of money in it too that I didn't realize beforehand. And so in June of 2021, I started this bookkeeping business. Really, I was super excited, and that's just my personality. I'm optimistic about everything. But I had this dream of having 20 to 30 clients and working 25, 30 hours a week, doing monthly bookkeeping. I'm not talking about day-to-day bookkeeping. I'm not talking about week-to-week bookkeeping. I'm not sending out invoices or paying bills. I'm not filing taxes or, filing payroll taxes. I'm not doing any of that. All I do is monthly bookkeeping. And so what that means is I categorize the transactions, I reconcile the bank and credit card accounts in QuickBooks, and I send emails with financial statements to the business owners I work with. So my services are very simple. They're very clear. I'm not trying to compete with other CPA firms. I'm very specific because I want to be the expert bookkeeper in QuickBooks Online. So anyway, that's kind of the mission I had in June of 2021, and I was super excited about it. I posted on social media, and that first post was the scariest thing I ever did. I I didn't want to do it, but I did anyway, and it instantly kicked in this instinct to follow through. So the post was basically like this. I basically said, hey guys, I'm starting a bookkeeping business. If you know anybody who needs bookkeeping help, or if you yourself need bookkeeping help, let me know. I'd be happy to help you. And I, of course, blocked everybody that I worked with, on LinkedIn and Facebook because I didn't want it to get out to my, my boss. And, I thought it would turn into this big thing overnight, but I actually didn't get my first bookkeeping client for 3 months. And so it took forever to get my first real monthly bookkeeping client. But I stuck at it, and I was patient, and I hustled, and I, maybe I don't know, I probably did a few things wrong. Maybe I didn't put enough time into it. I have a young family at home, so it's hard to fit this in on the weekends and in the mornings and nights. But I was determined to make this thing work. And so a few things that I did that really worked. One, I made my own website. It was under $100 to make a website, and I did it from scratch, and I made it really simple. I had a few things. I didn't want it to feel big like a big corporation. Like I wanted it to be personal. I wanted to have a picture of me and my family. I wanted it to be, I wanted to look like a small business. Whoever signed up with me was going to work directly with me. And so I wanted that to be on my website. I also had the pricing and my servicing clearly on there. It was just a one-page website, very simple. I didn't pay anybody to do it. I just made it myself. So that's the first thing. The second thing is I reached out via email to CPAs in the area. So I looked for like solo CPAs that didn't have their own bookkeeping wing. And I basically reached out via email. I looked them up on Google Maps. I found a bunch of CPAs. You'd be surprised how many there are. And I created like a customized email for each one. And it basically said like, hey, like I am a new bookkeeper in the area. I'm looking to build up my book of business and I'd be happy to work with you to help with any bookkeeping needs you might have, for your clients. And that was like a huge success actually. I probably sent like 50 emails, but I got like 5 responses, and they were good responses from CPAs that were like burnout and needed bookkeeping help. And so that was one of the big things that really helped me get started. I also did like email marketing to businesses. I would pick an industry, like coffee shops, for example, and I would look up all the coffee shops in South Jersey, and I would gather all the emails together, and I would like put together a customized email for coffee shops. And again, this is before ChatGPT, so I had to actually write this email by myself. Can you imagine? I'm joking, but anyway, like it was a hustle in the beginning, and by the end of that first year, I was working almost full time. Once I got my first few clients, I had dropped down to 32 hours a week with my employer, and that's a whole nother conversation. It was a very scary conversation I had with my boss. But by the end of that first year, I think I had made like $13,000. And I had like 4 or 5 monthly recurring clients, which was like huge. It was unbelievable. It felt amazing. I was so excited about it. And then in 2023, I actually dropped down to 16 hours a week with my employer, and I kept adding clients to my plate. And by the end of that year, I was able to quit my quote unquote full-time job that I had to start to like really take the business to the next level. So I share all that because if I can do it, you can do it too. If you have accounting experience, and if you're a CPA, if you're tired of tax seasons, if you are tired of being told what to do, if you hate being an employee, if you want to see your pay increase, if you want to have more time, because I forgot to mention, I have so much time on my hands. My business is doing better than ever. I'm on track to make about $225,000 this year in profit. That's after expenses. And I only work like 30 hours a week. Like I'm not even kidding. Now I have an employee, so it's even easier. But like this business is, I'm telling you, it's one of the best things I've ever done in my life. And if you're an accountant, like you can have this too. And I guess just one thing I'll say to the accountants out there is I know bookkeeping seems beneath you. I know you had these aspirations to be like a partner at a CPA firm. But think about like the life you actually want to live. Do you want to be in control of your life? Or do you want to be told what to do with your life? Do you want to have to justify your time to your boss? Or do you want to be able to live your life however you want, and be able to take off whenever you want, to play golf whenever you want, to go out for a run whenever you want? Like there is so much freedom to being self-employed. And if you're an accountant, in my opinion, the best way to be self-employed is to start a bookkeeping company. There aren't enough good bookkeepers out there. There are tons of businesses that need good bookkeepers, that need a bookkeeper. And so if you have any itch to be an entrepreneur, this is your opportunity. I'm gonna do more videos like this. I think if people enjoy these videos, hopefully they do. If not, I'll probably still keep doing the videos. But yeah, if this isn't helpful to you at all, please like and subscribe. I would really appreciate it. And yeah, I'll see you guys next time.